Hello, everybody! Let's see, it is I, Dimple Wizard, back at it again with a special stream tonight. As you can see, I've got Isabel, I've got Froshi, I've got a big cat, and I've got Corby. And today we're going to be watching my very epic animations. I have had several animations that were uploaded on YouTube, and I figure as we get closer and closer to the release of Operation 3 here, I'd like to go over the things that led up to its release. Due to the nature of the videos that I've made, I cannot play the music in the background. I simply cannot. But what I can do is play the animation and talk about it over what would be the music. Now here. I'll have to see if it plays. Okay, so this is possible. Okay, so that makes it just smaller. Let's see. So yeah, we're gonna talk about the animation. I'm going to go over the story I was trying to tell. And I'm going to talk about a little bit what maybe the next movie might be about based on the little teasers I've given. And I'll also be talking about just the other animations I've made and how they all kind of relate together. So I guess for a bit of a background on like the whole thing, I guess I just kind of want to talk about what sort of sparked this idea, how did it come to fruition and everything. So this is going to be an interesting stream, I think. It's kind of going to be in a bit of a style of like a YouTube video or something along those lines. But obviously it's going to be a little bit different. So let's see. So when I was, well, I guess now it's a year ago. Well, 2 years ago. It's weird to think. I just finished celebrating my 1 year anniversary with Caretaker Egg, and we had been a long distance couple. We met and started dating just a bit before the coronavirus-19 disease sort of came to fruition. So, we had spent a lot of time playing video games together. And one of those video games we played is called Rainbow Six Siege. And the thing is, I was never a big shooter fan. I hadn't really played PC games before. So for that to be like my first experience like online, it was something. From just the overall difficulty of, clicking heads, right? To just learning the tactics, the maps, the operators. The game right now is a bit of a wacky thing. A lot of people are mad at it for one reason or another. But I am in the boat of I just enjoy the game. I think the operators are really cool, and I wanted to make us as operators. I could probably display the little thing I've made. So here, first I'll put up like this movie poster, and then I'll browse for a second to see if I can kind of switch it up. So let's see. Because I made this giant OC picture with Edgar and I as operators. Let's see. Is this gonna be it? No. That's not gonna be it. I'm trying to see if I could display it for everybody. Cause it was a really monumental piece. It was the first piece that really took me a long time to make. So let's see. No, I can't find it there. Ah, cannot find it there. I feel like it's no. All right. Well, never mind. I'll just leave you with the movie poster for now while I talk about it. Um, but so yeah, I made us as operators. What I actually could do is I can just show you the picture from my iPad itself, which is just I think a better idea for the moment. Eventually, I'll get it like up on screen, but for now, we'll just kind of go with this since this is basically my first time really going in depth. So hopefully this is okay. Yeah. So yeah, these are little operators. Um, I'm Blue. My operator name is Clutch, and I named myself Clutch because I climb walls with sticky goo gloves. And then Edgar is Clar, and he has bulletproof reinforcing walls. And both of these came from a lot of ideas that we bounced back and forth to each other on ways that we could make the game better and innovate and things like that. It was a lot of fun. So I surprised him with like a very detailed drawing of us together like that. But in truth, for our 1 year, I really wanted to make a movie based on our characters, but I just simply didn't have the know-how or the time. So over the course of the next year, I decided to actually make the movie. I started it, I storyboarded it. It was actually pretty easy, like putting everything together. The music entirely came from Caravan Palace. If you go on my YouTube channel, you can watch it along with me. And you can listen to the music, but of course, for copyright reasons, I won't be displaying the music on stream. But I will be showing the animation itself. And I'll just say, this movie was intense. It's as you can see, over 8 minutes. And while I started it, like I would say in about May, in terms of the actual animation part, most of the work happened in December. I messed up my sleep schedule pretty badly to get this thing done in time. And it was my first project, so of course my animation is not that great to look at. It's a whole thing. So my hope today is to take you all on a journey through my creative process on making this movie. So far on YouTube, it has, I think, about 72 views or so. So I figure if I can actually just show it here, maybe you guys will get a little bit of hype for the next one. But I will say, the music makes a big difference. Like, every track that I did kind of had a hand in crafting the lore. And we're going to talk about that. So nothing I say here is a spoiler for the next movie. It will be simply an explanation on the current continuity, an explanation on the universe I've crafted, and a bit of just diving into the creative process. Basically, a behind the scenes stream. And if you're interested in checking out my upcoming movie, it's in the works. It should be out this December. At the soonest, it'll be out on the 26th because that's the anniversary date. But it might come out the day after, depending on how late I show it to the people that have, know me in real life first. So it's going to be one of those days. Whatever just makes more sense, So I guess with that being said, I'll just kind of start the little movie now. We'll get the poster out of the way. This should not have any audio, so I'll basically be commentating on it as it plays. So the first thing initially is that we're opening with a where's my cursor? I don't know. But we're opening with like the stars in the constellation called Orion, which and that'll come into play later. If you know, you know. So yeah, here it really plays into the music. And the whole reason that I picked the Orion constellation was because of the music. That was how many beats there kind of were for the stars to twinkle to. And here we have our main protagonists coming and basically displaying that they're in love. That was like a scene I had for a very long time right there. Um, it's just us dancing, and that's me, hello. And that's Caretaker Egg. I thought it was so cool to do the whole rising thing, little animation. And then we've got the Parliament building, der Bundestag. And here we have just a scene inside. It's supposed to be Chancellor Merkel in there. So here she's kind of singing, and it's like we need to hold on to the GSG-9. And the GSG-9 is the anti-terrorist unit of Germany. And we want to hold on to it so that we're ready. And then up here we have, pulling up to the after party, Orion's cleaning crew. A little detail is on the license plate. We have our anniversary date on there. And this was just a fun back and forth to draw. And she says she knows that these people all think that it's too expensive to keep them, but please listen to me. The music really goes well with this part. But there is a new threat that has appeared. Oh boy. That was a really cool scene to animate with everybody just spinning around in circles. It is true. He is back. You have to please understand. And then this is kind of where the music sort of transitions into basically the break-in scene. We have some wire being dragged along, cracks forming in the walls, the rolling of dynamite, more cracks in the walls, just set up. The TNT is all set up, it's all ready to go. We have the Orion knife. Some guy's beating it up with a sledgehammer, I guess to loosen up the bricks a bit. And there he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Orion, back at it again. And he hits the button and explodes. And here's Angela Merkel looking terrified at what's about to occur. And here we have a little money shot with the constellation in the background a bit. And here comes Orion, ready to take control. Ach nein, Kleichen! It's a little joke we have personally, where it says evacuate, where there was like this little meme of like this little cat saying, "Oh no, cringe," but in different languages. And one of the ways they said it was Ach nein, Kleichen! So Angela says, please, we need you both. And here's the classic money shot. I've been saying that so many times recently. But you know, they're here to save the day. They're here to keep everybody safe. So they jump on in. That was a really fun scene to animate. And you can see there's a little bit of detail work. And here's Clar's bulletproof glass wall being put to use. It's great for defense. Do I think that's how it would work in the game? Probably not. But for the context of this, you know, I think it works out pretty well. And then here comes my little part where I'm sticking to the wall. And in the next scene, I'm going to be kind of like swinging down. Again, with the music, this is great. It's all really well timed and everything. And we do a little Sonic reference, I guess. And the reason I say gotcha is because I'm American and I speak English typically. So I wanted to have a little cute line for myself. And of course, I say there, we're rescuing Angela. Something you might notice is a bit of an animation error throughout the entirety of these scenes, throughout the entirety of the movie, where you can see like where I've actually drawn. And then everybody's evacuating. But oh no, Orion has his weapon drawn. And there goes Clark. He's been hit. It is an emotional scene. This scene took ages for me to draw. So it's supposed to signify that, he's been knocked unconscious. But through the power of transitions, we wake up in the hospital. I'm there to be happy to see him alive, and so is Angela. And here we hug. And the music here is like nice and slow. It's just like a reflection of saving the day and everything. And here we're going to get some medals of honor. This is probably the only part of the movie that I have I feel like I messed up a bit on, and I'll talk about that in a moment. And I say I love you. A lot of my friends like the little flowiness of the hair. Yeah, this might be the only part that might have been a little wacky, was the medal. I think I might have presented the wrong medal. I tried to do research on it, but I don't know if I presented a good medal or not. And then we have the constellation in the background. Orion is no more, and instead we have a triumphant constellation. And then, it's the slow zoom in, the final payoff. The thing we had wanted to do the whole time was have a smooch. And that pretty much concludes it. And all of that was done in a very short amount of time, with a lot of adrenaline and fear. I really wanted to display it. When I say project sponsor, it was my roommate at the time. She helped get me the premium version of the app. My friend Carl helped me with the translations. I enjoyed, I did storyboarding on Sketch. I used Audacity for all the audio stuff. IBS Paint also for storyboarding. And then that's me. And there's the game. And then for my favorite operator, my motivator, my partner Edgar, maybe go on more adventures and operations together. I love you. And here we have a little teaser. So let's talk about what we just watched, and we'll go back to my little YouTube channel here. So the movie, it was quite the fun thing to animate. It was entirely made with passion. I never really intended on uploading it on YouTube, but then I kind of got the idea, maybe I could do an animation channel, and things kind of went on from there. It was a different time. It was before I considered making a whole story for I had already considered just kind of ending it there. It'd be a one and done thing. But literally the day that I showed Edgar the movie, I was so excited about it that I decided I'm going to make this a whole thing. So literally From that point on, I had been thinking about like storyboarding the movie I'm currently working on and just getting the general idea for the rest of the movies down the line. Something that didn't kind of end up working out was my monthly uploads for animations. They'd be super short and they'd use popular music. Um, but it was kind of tricky. I ended up going. It ended up being fine like the first few months, and that's why they're all named like 27, 28, and etc. But I realized like the moment I missed a month, I would feel just horrible. Hi, Electron. Split Tuesday with my friends, but I will most likely be back later. Well, thanks for being here. I hope you're enjoying the little analysis of my films. Um, but yeah, I tried really hard to make a bunch of videos about uh just like little bits of lore, little explanations, little teasers for the upcoming movie even. Um and there's a lot to unpack in every single one. And I won't really, again, I don't want to spoil things for the upcoming movie, but everything I do has some kind of purpose or relation to the movie franchise. I am always teasing something. I am always putting something in there. I actually got a minute or so until the next match starts, so I'll chill here for a minute. Well, welcome. Um, but yeah, I have several videos that I'm also going to be showing you all today. I'm just going to basically be showing my whole library here. But I want to go over first, like, what was Operation 2 Year really about? It's basically just a setup story. It establishes the characters that Clara and Clutch are. It sets the scene, like where they are in the world, and it gives us our first baddie, Orion. Um, there's a lot of backstory with Orion that may or may not be explored in the future. Um, but one thing's always clear, and that is his symbolism and just, kind of taking him out. I never, like, when I created all of these characters, it wasn't with, like, a big intent. I watched it but kind of had a hard time following along, but mostly because I don't know German. Yeah. I will say one thing about the third movie, or, well, I guess the second movie. It's just called Operation 3 Year. The translations are in the movie now. I will say that. It is now 100% followable by an English audience. Again, the first movie was never intended for YouTube. It was entirely intended for a personal show. I uploaded it to YouTube as a means of being able to show it to Edgar, but I never really anticipated making it like a whole thing. But then it turned into a whole thing, and now here I am. So I'm here basically to answer any questions that kind of come along with it. And another way you could have done translation is captions. Yeah, I probably could have done captions. But I figure it has a bit more impact if it's on screen. People might not think to enable captions for something that is titled in English, So it's definitely a different type of film. But I will just say it was a lot of fun to make. It was definitely an interesting film. I'll tell you some of the backgrounds, like some of the stories behind certain shots are kind of wacky. This is around the time that Security Breach released, and if you know that video game, you know it was kind of a glitchy mess. So I really enjoyed it for that. If you know Five Nights at Freddy's, you might have heard of the newest installment in the franchise, which was Security Breach. I watched basically Markiplier's whole Let's Play of that. And because of my sleep schedule, I was just waiting for every episode to come up. And yeah, it was a time in my life, again. And I wasn't just watching that. I was basically watching documentaries on YouTubers. I enjoy a little bit of tea, a little bit of drama, so I was catching up on all that jazz. Just anything long form that I could just animate to, I was watching it. So, um, let's talk about, I guess, some of the problems with the first movie. Like I said, I think the biggest thing was the metal. I don't know for certain. I tried to look up like what is the current medal that they give to soldiers that do well in Germany. But I'm not sure if I was given really the correct result, and honestly, I'm kind of scared to look up if it was. So basically, I will say, like, I'm not really going to try to bring more attention to it that it needs to have. The point was, it was a medal. They saved the parliament. They saved Angela. I think most people enjoyed Angela. Um, what was also funny was just that they got a new chancellor while I was animating, Olaf Schultz. So I was a bit upset about that. I was like, darn it, I just made this. Um, but again, I don't really live there, so at the time, I wasn't exactly familiar with everything yet. A lot has changed in the span of a year. Um, but in terms of animation errors, there are a couple. There are some things that I wish I could have improved upon. The big thing was just the way it looked was because the characters weren't properly like filled in on Flip a Clip. There were a lot of just like you could tell where I actually drew the character, and that kind of revealed how I did the process and how I still kind of even do the process. What I typically will do is if a character is sort of standing still, I don't just want them to be standing still. I don't want to just draw once. I want to make them kind of bounce a little. So what I like to do is I'll draw the first frame and then I'll double it and then I'll do the second like frame kind of thing and then I will just sort of trace the outer line. I think it's a great way of making it so that it's a little bit less work on my end, but you get the same result and it feels a little bit better had I just drawn it one time they were just stiff as a board. What I believe is a better animation is when there's always something happening. Because the moments that, have nothing happening, that's impactful. It's a lot easier to have nothing happen than to have something happen. At least thematically. Of course, it's easier to draw less. But in terms of making it look better, I went for more of the style of just trying to get my characters like kind of bouncy, kind of flowy, and make my own style. I don't see a lot of silhouette animations. Those I think that's definitely an older kind of style. And I feel like if I can bring it back, that'd be cool. um Now, growing up, I loved watching like Jade Animations, The Odd Ones Out, like basically the story time community, right? I say those names, you know exactly who they are. Like they were huge and are huge. Like Jaden right now, she's doing the whole subathon. I wish I could do a subathon. Um, but I will say, yeah, it was definitely a different era. Um, but eventually, I never like grew out of watching them. But I definitely realized like there was a point where their content wasn't really hitting all the right parts of the little marbles that rattle around in my head anymore, it wasn't exactly for me. So I guess you could say I kind of grew out of it, but I still adore like the animation style, and I think it's fantastic for what they can do because now that I animate, I have a insane appreciation. Do you like to watch documentaries when drawing or animating? Yes, I do. I love watching documentaries. I like watching creators like The Right Opinion, Sunny V2. I like those kinds of documentaries. I also like, I'm interested in like listening to like crime and stuff. But like, I'm not going to get into all of that jazz. I just think there's a wide variety of things I'm interested in, but whatever is just long. I love listening to podcasts. One of my personal favorites is the H3 podcast. I know that's a bit of a controversial opinion, um, but I don't really mind. It's just like the things that I like. Um, there's this really interesting one I saw about this old urban legend about the game Polybius. I think it was like an hour or 2 hours long. Yes, I have listened to that one at least twice. uh, there's a lot of good ones out there. I love learning about the landscape of YouTube and how everybody kind of acts on there and like the different niches of the community, the controversies, because, you know, um, it's not necessarily about just like the gossip, but it's also just for me lessons on basically what not to do online. Um, there's just a lot of pitfalls that you can take as a content creator. And for a while, although I wasn't necessarily like studying to become like a big streamer or something like that, it was something that I was interested in. And I knew that one day I would like to explore if possible. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm really excited about it. Um, I'm happy to be where I'm at right now. Uh, However, I am still trying to kind of get a bit bigger. I guess, as you could probably expect. Um, so that's why I'm putting a lot of love and effort into this current animation because it is it's not just long, it's also, animation wise, it's a lot better. No longer are the issues of the backgrounds or not necessarily the backgrounds but like the characters just not filled in properly or anything like that. Now it's like everybody has a purpose, it's all good, it's all better. I'll also say, as we watch like another one of the or the next video, 26 was a big one. It was, I am pretty sure, like just a bit after Operation 2 Year. And it's where I finally had like set in stone like kind of what Operation 3 Year was going to be, where most of the movie was storyboarded, the sound was figured out. I had already started animating it just a bit. So let's take a look at 26. So a little star comes, I run down the bridge, Clara runs over too. A little smooch. And there we go. So yeah, as you can imagine, it was short, it was sweet, and it basically, I think it kind of set a little bit the idea behind the style of the next one. It may not have come as a big deal to anybody. In fact, it probably just made sense. But if you noticed, in the original movie, there were no eyes. The only eye that showed up was Orion's at the end, when he was in his silhouette form. Of course, I draw eyes when, they aren't silhouetted. But when they are silhouetted, I was just drawing them out, so I did not have the time to think about a whole extra thing to consider. Let's see. I like to watch video game unsolved mysteries. There's this really good creator I like to watch called Odd Header. He goes over stuff like secrets in games that are unsolved and waiting to be found or things not meant to be seen by the player. I think he went over the boss room scream in Splatoon once. I probably saw that exact video too. Electron. I think I actually did. Because I was just as interested in it. You would probably like Side of Salt. They go over like the history of speedruns. They're really good. And you know who you'd really love? Boundary Break. They just go out of bounds in all the games and show you how things function or how like bosses show up. It's really cool. Highly recommend those channels. Those are also things I would listen to. But I try not to like listen to videos while I'm animating that I have to kind of watch for. And you probably want to watch Boundary Break. You don't want to just listen to it. Um, but it's very good, very matter of fact. I love just gaming content in general. I'm subbed to both of those guys already. Hey, there you go. There you go. um, yeah, but there definitely was like a shift in the art style a little bit. Um, and that wouldn't even really be its final form. Like, this was still very early in the year. Like, right now, I will be honest, most of the animation for Operation 3 is happening in December. Um, a lot of this year I had spent in Germany. I had spent trying to find a house for school, and I have spent just doing school stuff. It's been a lot. Um, but December is the time of year that I knew I could dedicate myself entirely to the project. But it's not like I'm working myself overboard this time. I had been animating more throughout the year than I did previously because I knew that this would be way too much of a task to take on entirely in December. So I had a bit of a head start this time, which was very helpful, especially since it's over double as long. I'd say nearly triple the length of the original film. So, what changes? What are things that need to be taken into consideration for Operation 3 year? In terms of continuity, there's only like the slightest change, and it's something you would not even be able to tell in the film itself. Other than that, Angela was saved canonically. Clutch and Clark did have this adventure. They were awarded for their work, and they're together. That's pretty much like the key takeaways. And of course, Orion is in prison, right? And I think this will be like a bigger thing to talk about like after the release of the next movie, because the next movie truly takes like that step forward in building lore. It builds character. It's bigger and better in literally every single way. The animation is smoother. The animation is cleaner. It's more polished. There's a wider variety of shots, but the biggest thing of all is backgrounds. The first movie, you could kind of follow it, sorta. Beyond just the translations, you could probably maybe tell where characters were. I realize that now. Again, this was like my first crack at it. It was not the best. I do not think that. At the time, I thought, oh my god, my magnum opus. But now I know for a fact, no, it is not my magnum opus. It is merely my pinkiest of toes, taking the slightest of dips in a puddle that would lead to the ocean that is animation and the skills required for it. This movie, the one I'm working on, really knocks it out of the park, and you're going to see in the first minute of that movie, I guarantee you, the first minute, everything changes, everything looks very different. Characters that are not in silhouettes move. They move this time. There's camera shifts. The backgrounds exist. It's crazy. And that's not all. Not only is there the addition of eyes, but there's a whole new element in store. Like, none of these things, I would say, are crazy for general animators or things that hadn't been implemented before. But for me, to go from this to that is a bit bigger. So I think it's time we look at the next animation on the chopping block. And let's go to Operation Introduction. This is a really short one. So that's me, and that's Clark, a little smooch, and 27. I'm just having it loop for a little moment. Because there's a little bit to unpack here. I wanted to see if I could pause it. But here we have Clark's design. Like this is supposed to be like, who are the characters? Well, what are they like? just a little kind of turning shot silhouette to stylized, like you get the full package. Um, like it establishes their relationship. Let's talk about my design, I guess, first. Um, with my character, I can just say her gadget is her sticky gloves. The mechanism that makes it work is magic. No, not really. It's supposed to be that there's like just micro technology in it that she created. Um, that gives her the ability to form and use like the sticky substance that she can use to scale walls. She can make ropes to swing with. She can tie up bad guys, all sorts of things. And she keeps like extra like I imagine like tubes of like the goo or something kind of stored in her purse, her little satchel here. And that is based off of the pleather bag from Animal Crossing. uh, the designs for these characters were heavily inspired by Rainbow Six Siege. Operators like IQ and Jaeger were heavily, contributing to the design here. They functioned as like some sort of kind of undercover forces, so they would wear street clothes, like a hoodie or something along those lines, and jeans. So I'm wearing a blue sweater and some jeans with my classic pink. I forget the shoe brand. It's not Vans. The name of it has slipped my mind, but they're very pretty shoes, and they're pink, and that's pretty epic. But other than that, like the jacket, her bulletproof vest, it has like storage little compartments, as Polizei written on it, and of course the German flag is on her sweater sleeve. Now, you might be wondering, why didn't you do like an American flag? Because you're American. It's because my dream is to one day become a citizen in Germany. So I am trying to kind of just incorporate like a future look as to who I become, right? Like it's supposed to take place in the future, because at the time of animating this, I was not old enough to be doing anything like that. And then if we look at Klar, he also has the German flag. I was heavily inspired by real pictures of like the GSG9 when making his outfit. I gave him like a green hoodie, and I gave him like little pants on his shoulders. Lots of compartments were entirely based on the real deal kind of stuff. Just like trying to keep it a little bit real, I wanted to have something that seemed like, what are they really about? What is it actually like? In real life, the GSG9 has kind of come under scrutiny. They've done a couple pretty bad things. And I don't think I'm qualified really to talk about all of that. I am not a news source. I am simply an epic gamer and animator. But in this universe, the GSG9 are a force of good. They are simply a part of like the rainbow team, just like IQ would be, or Jaeger. They have it's not really entirely tied with the real thing. I've basically from them just sort of taken the name and of the organization to just have it fit inside the world of Rainbow. I don't really I am not a military person. I just find it fascinating. I find the concept of like anti-terrorist units really a cool subject. I think I've watched a lot of like videos on like them successfully doing raids and things like that, and for like my statement on the matter, I shall say I am not a part of the police or anything like that. I have nothing against anybody. I'm in full support of pretty much you being whoever you are. I do not stand for when any organization whatsoever does anything that discriminates or says horrible things about like a race or ethnicity or a belief system or a sexuality or a gender, none of that. I'm not having any of that. I don't like any of that. Um, and so, of course, that was something that I had to kind of be ready for when making a series that kind of revolves a little bit around realism. But at the end of the day, nobody's actually going to be using like these gadgets in like real life, and I don't even think these gadgets will get into the game. At the end of the day, it is purely based on the fictional universe, and I find that really cool, very interesting. The real life stuff is beyond me. I am not an expert. I am simply the average video game enjoyer. So I guess that's my full statement on that. Um, but I adore the game. I love how they made like the first female like French operator, because in real life I forget what the unit's called. um Everybody in the comments will be yelling at me, and by everybody I mean caretaker egg. But the character Twitch, they don't actually have any women in that unit in real life, so the game kind of went out of their way to make, more representation. I think that's pretty cool. So, that's basically my take on that. But what was really cool was after this point in my little animation adventures, I got 10 subscribers. And it's merely just a little thank you, pretty much. And yeah, I think it's fantastic that I've almost doubled in subscribers in this time, just from uploading pretty much like one little animation. We're getting close to like the bigger one, as you can see. And I think a part of the reason that like 30 was a bit of a bigger video than the rest was because of the song I used in the background. I featured Bo Burnham in it. So I feel like the algorithm kind of picked that up and sort of spread it a bit further than it would have gone otherwise. A lot of the music I pick is a little bit niche, I guess. Like with Caravan Palace, I think a lot of people like their music, but I don't think they know all of their songs. They know probably like the bigger ones from like the most recent album, or like the one with the animated like videos of like the cat people going to the club. um but I sincerely like all of their albums, and I'm trying my best to incorporate as much of that music into my animations as possible, because it's really, it's kind of like caretaker agonize, like, I guess, group or band, you could say. Um, it feels a little quirky, a little bit not like other girls. I like the electric ragtime genre, and I think it sounds really nice. Doesn't it, Isabel? Here's my little Isabel plushie. I got this in Germany. It's very cute. I also have with me Corbo, who I also got in Germany. Getting these both back, that's gonna be a whole other story. Because the story behind these guys is something. But yeah. Oh my gosh. There's so much behind like all of these videos. Now let's talk about 28. So this one I feel is a little bit, I wouldn't say it's forgettable, but I would also say it might be a little forgettable. It was, I think, a bit more rushed. There's not really much to gain from it other than like a little, like, slight teasers, but nothing big. It's just us dancing. Again, like, it's really a personal, like, love letter to Caretaker Egg before a YouTube video most of the time. And I wouldn't even say most of the time, it's always that. I would not be animating these had I um no motivation really. And Caretaker Egg is my motivation for that. Um if you're watching this VOD, check out the Caretaker Egg playlist and you can see our goofy dynamic on screen. Uh There's a reason I call him the caretaker of the relationship. But now we get to 30. And this one probably looks really silly without the music. But maybe I could. Oh my gosh, there's 126 views. I literally just noticed that. I thought it was okay. Alright. But this is like, he's a really cool guy. He's got a cool shirt. He's got cool shoes. And did I mention the shirt? If you ever had the chance to meet him, you know what I'd wanna be him. Yeah, so of course that's from the song 1985 by Bo Burnham. I did my best to tell you what the lyrics were saying without hopefully getting bonked. But yeah, it's basically just a cute little quirky video. Is it necessarily related to the Operations franchise? Say it with me now, people. Everything's for a reason. So yeah, I think it just shows a little bit more of like what we're like when we're not saving the world. A little bit of, I think, Clar's personality shines through, especially with his froggy boots and his Hawaiian shirts. Because in real life, Egg does wear Hawaiian shirts. I will say that about him. And it's very funny and adorable. The video after this, I'm not really gonna... I'll play it. There shouldn't be any music, so I think I could actually play it like without... I think I can actually play it without blocking the music. So we're just gonna listen to this and enjoy it. Oh, wait a second. I've also been working on Operation 3 Year. Oh, no. Okay, let's go back. I realized you couldn't hear. But anyway. Hiya. Sorry I haven't uploaded recently. I've been streaming on my Twitch. I have also been working on Operation 3 Year. In the meanwhile, check out my VODs channel and my Twitch to see me play games and make art. Join my Patreon for cool perks and commission me on Ko-fi or eventually Fiverr to support my work. Links to everything in the description. I love you all. Bye! Alright, so here we'll put this back to that and we'll mute YouTube so that I don't get bamboozled. But yes, that was my first commercial, I guess. And that's my most recent upload. I will say, have I ever wanted to do a trailer for the upcoming movie? Yes, I have. Do I know how? No, I don't. I simply do not have the know-how. Could I jerry-rig it? Sure, probably. But here's what I'm gonna tell you right away, Buster. That's a lot of effort for something that is literally gonna be coming out in like the span of 20-ish days. I don't have time to carefully cut clips of everything. Especially because I'm in the middle of animating it. I don't want to just like give stuff away. I feel like trailers these days just basically tell the whole movie in like 30 seconds, so it's like, what's the point? And I'm not about to spoil that. I want it to be like a total surprise. I want the music to be exciting. I want the art style to be like, whoa. So the only thing I wanted to do was provide like a little teaser image. Just a custom made movie poster for all of those for that. I will say though, there exists a lot of behind the scenes content. For the second Operation 2 Year, I will say I didn't just make a movie poster for that. I made 9 or so movie posters for that one. A lot of them are just parodies of sequel movies that we've watched together. what I wanted to do was make like every single sequel movie that we watched. So like Adam's Family 2, Adam's Family Values. I did the goofiest one I probably did was Scary Godmother 2, which is like a straight to Cartoon Network, straight to TV movie. It was great. I did a poster for uh Cloverfield 13 Lane, um, the second movie to the in the Cloverfield franchise. I did Die Hard 2. That was the first one I did, and I was gonna keep it at that, but that's when I decided to push myself and do all of them. I did Godzilla 2. Um, I did Peter Rabbit 2. you know, I did Twilight 2. And I did Hot Fuzz, the sequel or the second movie in the trilogy of Edgar Wright films that featured the British guy duo that I forgore the names. I apologize. Um Look at my little quirk. I love him. I'm just gonna like kind of be here. If you can't see me, that's fine. I'm back here. um but yeah, it was that was what nearly broke me because I didn't just do these movie posters, these silly goofy parody posters. I had to make a VR chat world. If you know what VR chat is, it's a video game that you can play on desktop or in VR. And you basically play like any avatar you want, do kind of whatever you want. It's like a social game. Um I do intend on playing it on stream soon. I'm really excited to do that. So stay tuned and look forward to that. Um but yeah, it's like a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Um so yeah, it's a lot of fun. It is a whole lot of fun for me. Um but what I will say, it nearly broke me because I didn't just make like oh no, my Froggy Light. Come back, Froggy Light. Hold on, everybody. Hooray, the Froggy Light lives. um but what I will say is the VR chat world I made, it was full of like drawings and stuff that I had made throughout like our time together. And it was my present for him for being together for 11 months. And the whole idea was to watch this animation I'd been keeping a secret all year from him in the comfort of our VR chat house. The video player didn't work. So, I had my friend, the Mary Rose. You could check out her content on Twitch too. She streams sometimes. With her grace and love and affection, she made me a little VR chat theater in like the span of a day or so. And she hooked everything up for me. She made seats, she made the floor pretty, and she even had like spots to like hang up posters. So she put my poster in there. That was when I was like, what if I do like a bunch of little posters? So then I did all of the posters, and she's like, oh my god, Dimple, you did too many things. And I agree with her. I said, I know, I did too many things. I did so many things. But it was all worth it in the end. There were so many like layers of surprise to everything, like just from like the VR chat world, it's like all the little movie posters, the movie itself, and like just going into all the details, the little inside jokes, the absolute passion. Edgar knows this time that I'm making this film. He has seen, I think, about the first 45 seconds or so of the film. It was my little teaser to him in Germany of what I had been working on. It doesn't reveal anything really plot-wise, it just basically gave him something to chew on. Honestly, it didn't give him much more than what you got in the movie poster. Um, but it did display technically, and when I say technically, I mean like the advancements, like the technological improvements of the animation, you know? It displayed basically everything new in the series. And I even showed him a little spin off I was working on at one point, but I just couldn't bring myself to work on much more considering the other animations I'm working on. So stay tuned for maybe information on that if I ever can get to it. That project is like on the backest of the back burners. That might end up being like my little present to him for next year, depending on how the whole year kind of goes. um, because I do have a plan for the next movie. I have it pretty much storyboarded. I have a lot of the songs picked out, but whether or not I'll have enough time next year to actually work on it is uncertain. It might be one of those things where it's released like a little bit like maybe the name is a bit wacky, but that wouldn't be outside of the possibility of this series, you know. So we'll see. Um but yeah. So that's my animation library that's on YouTube. I have other animations that are on my little iPad, but I'm telling you guys, they're nothing long. They're nothing like close to the length of the ones on YouTube. Like I think I have one that's about maybe 7 seconds or so. Maybe that I haven't uploaded. Maybe in the future I'll upload them on YouTube. You know, if I kind of run out of something to upload for the month, we'll see. Will I be able to keep up with monthly uploads on this channel? Maybe. But that's why I have the VODs channel. The VODs channel is like my little filler content. It's where, you know, you can go to see my stuff every day. It's where you can go to see this VOD too. But yeah. So it's been quite a day for me, gamers. I'm kind of recuperating after yesterday's animation marathon. I basically did a minute, which is a lot. Like it was probably close to like 40 seconds, but that is still like a lot of like time in the animation to do in a day. Like that is hours and hours of focus and work. So I'm really glad that I got the amount I did done. And hey, you know, I'm probably gonna be animating tonight. I don't think I'll be doing it on stream, but I will be doing it in general. Like once this week is over, I'm pretty much done. Like I'll have a couple more things to do for school, and then I go home for like Christmas break. But then I can just entirely focus on the movie and just living my best life. I wanted to do a game stream today, but it got a little bit late. I've been working on some stuff today. And I have to make sure I take care of my little mental health, my little noggin. Gotta cuddle the plushies a whole bunch, you know? So yeah, sometimes I just like to do little cozy bed streams, and I had always wanted to like watch my videos like on YouTube. So yeah, I will say the plans for the next movie, it's gonna be great. I'm gonna be talking about it for ages on stream in the future. There's a lot of little details. There's gonna be an AMA, and you can expect exclusive content coming to the Patreon real soon. I'm gonna be uploading there like probably alternate posters, definitely some storyboards. I'll be uploading, I don't know, probably other stuff. And there's another thing too I wanted to announce. I will be making like playlists for all the songs featured like in the movies, and those will be displayed publicly on my YouTube channel after the movie releases. If I forget, it'll eventually come up. Don't worry about it. But yeah. So I guess that's gonna kind of do it for today's stream or today's video. I hope you enjoyed this little in-depth look into what I kind of do. I hope you enjoyed like the cozy comfiness, and I hope you had a nice little time. So yeah, stay tuned. Do a little countdown for the movie because I know I am. I'm really excited. Um, I watch it like every day now, because I'm always animating on it. So yeah, I'm having a good time. So, yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next stream, which will be tomorrow, as per usual. It'll probably be a little bit earlier in the day because, typically what'll happen is I'll do like a late stream and then an early stream or whatever. But yeah, have a fantastic day. Hang in there for those final tests and everything at the end of the year. I hope your grades are good. I hope you're excited for the holiday season. And I hope you're enjoying the winter and playing the snow and all the magical things of December. And if you don't have snow where you're at, I hope you're having fun, chilling and just enjoying maybe the cooler weather. Or if you're in Australia, I hope you're having a fun summer. But yeah, 'tis a good day. So I love you guys very much. Check out the socials, check out the VOD channel, check out the main channel. Watch the animations with the music in the background. It's very epic. It sounds very cool. And stay tuned for a game stream tomorrow. At least I'll try. It might end up being another just chatting stream, depending on how things go. But I think I'm kind of itching to play some more Animal Crossing or maybe even Among Us because I have like a challenge to play Among Us. So yeah, it'll be a whole thing. But I love you guys. I'll see you all in the next video or in the next stream. Bye!